I had a secret relationship with Levi Carter. He paid for my education, and I slept with him. Later, he said he wanted to get married and have children. So he ended our relationship unilaterally. Years later, when we met again, I was with my supervisor seeking investment from him. After several drinks, I clung to him and wouldn't let go. I make $3,000 a month now. I'll give you $2,000 if you'll sleep with me, I slurred. The others awkwardly explained. Perhaps Mr. Carter looks too much like her deceased ex-boyfriend. His face darkened like a thundercloud. So, you've been telling people I'm dead? Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. Professor Clark is taking us out for another fundraising dinner. Along the way, he keeps reminding us. All of you, drink if you can, talk if you can, and be sharp about it. My fellow student complains with a pout. We're not hostesses. We heard that this potential investor lacks formal education. Made his fortune through street smarts. These nouveau riche types love their drinking culture, which we students absolutely dread. You think I enjoy putting my dignity on the line? Without research funding, how am I supposed to support all of you? If we can't secure this investment, you'll all end up in joint programs abroad. Everyone falls silent. We understand Mr. Clark's predicament. With research funds running dry, he's more anxious than any of us. Just then, the door opens. Sorry to keep you waiting, Professor Clark. A deep voice cuts through the air. Whispers break out among us. Wasn't he supposed to be some nouveau riche types? How is he so young and handsome? His presence is incredible. I freeze as I look up. 5 years. An unexpected encounter. Levi Carter has changed so much. Gone is his youthful rebelliousness, replaced by an impeccably tailored suit. Though that wild glint in his eyes remains, only deeper and more intense now. Professor Clark hurriedly stands up. Mr. Carter, it's an honor. These are my humble students. Levi gives a slight nod, takes the head seat, his gaze sweeping over us. Professor Clark gives us a look, and we all stand to toast. My fellow students, who were reluctant earlier, now compete for attention. Mr. Carter, cheers to you, you're truly accomplished for your age. Mr. Carter, we look forward to working with you. I shrink in my corner, lowering my head further. Mr. Carter, this is my PhD student, Eloise Bennett. Professor Clark calls me out. Don't just stand there, offer Mr. Carter a toast. I rise stiffly, lifting my glass, not daring to meet his eyes. Good evening, Mr. Carter. He remains seated, not raising his glass, just watching me silently. Professor Clark tries to smooth things over. She's quite reserved, this one. Always buried in her studies, not much for small talk. Levi's gaze lingers on my face, burning into every inch. After what feels like forever, he finally speaks. Being studious is admirable. Professor Clark quickly adds. Indeed, Eloise has been with me since her master's degree, absolutely capable. To be frank, our project has great potential, it's just the funding. He gives me a meaningful look. Taking a deep breath, I force myself to meet Levi's eyes. Mr. Carter, our project has solid data and broad prospects. If you'd consider investing. He cuts me off with a slight scoff. Miss Bennett, I'm a businessman. I only deal in fair exchanges. The words fair exchange pierce my heart. Yes, fair exchange. In the past, he paid for my education, and I slept with him. Now, here I am again, asking him for money. When I was 18, my mom remarried, taking me her baggage along with her. I've lost count of how many husbands she's had. This man seemed nice to me at first. He bought me new clothes, gave me pocket money, and would smile while patting my head. I almost thought I'd finally found the father figure I'd never had. Until that night when he crept into my room silently. He said if I cooperated, he'd give me money and ensure both Mom and I would live comfortably. I told my mom in tears. She slapped me across the face, accusing me of wearing revealing clothes to seduce him. She called me shameless, saying I was trying to steal her man. At that moment, I felt utterly lost. After school, I couldn't bear to go home. I had very little money left. There was an internet cafe near school that charged only £2 for an overnight stay. The owner was a gang leader type, with striking blonde hair and tattoos covering his arms. The place was full of troubled youth, filled with the sound of clicking keyboards and cigarette smoke. I hesitated at the entrance for a long while before gathering the courage to go in. I'd like to stay overnight, I stammered. He looked up, his high brow and narrow eyes intimidating. Are you of age? He asked gruffly. His rough appearance terrified me. I hurriedly pulled out my ID card. Thankfully, I'd just turned 18 last month. The cafe had a small private room with one computer and a narrow sofa. I set down my backpack, read my books, and worked on my assignments. When hungry, I nibbled on half a bread I'd saved from lunch. When tired, I curled up on that tiny sofa. It was hard and cold at night. But it was the cheapest place I could find. At least, no one would try to pull off my clothes in the middle of the night. I kept coming back after school for the next few days. Finally, after checking my ID one more time, Levi Carter looked up impatiently. You're a student. Why are you hanging around an internet cafe instead of studying properly? You'll end up getting scammed online, and there'll be no one to help you. I opened my mouth, then mumbled quietly. It's none of your business. He swore under his breath and ignored me. Until one late night, when a drunk man from the next room kicked open my door. Well, what's a pure little girl doing here? Must be cold sleeping alone, let me keep you company? I shrank into the corner, trembling. Levi rushed in at the noise, grabbed the man, and threw him outside. He kicked him violently. Looking for trouble in my place? Do you have a death wish? He hit him hard, and the man's howls echoed through the night. When he came back, he glared at me, still angry. If you're not here to use the internet, why do you keep coming? I am using it. The computer's always off. What internet are you using? He impatiently tried to make me leave. Go home. This is no place for a student. I wouldn't move. After a long while, I whispered. I don't have a home. He ran his fingers through his hair in frustration, then grabbed my backpack. Come with me. Behind the internet cafe was a small, old one-bedroom flat. The place was messy, with clothes piled on the sofa and beer cans on the coffee table. He pointed, here, £1 per day. Take it or leave it. I had no choice, and no energy to consider whether it was safe. I'll take it. He tossed me a key and walked away. Levi rarely came home, spending his time either at internet cafes or who knows where. I would go straight back there after school every day. I'd buy an extra bread roll from the cafeteria at lunch to eat for dinner. On the 5th day after moving in, while I was nibbling on my cold bread, he pushed open the door. Move over, he frowned. Still holding my bread, I scooted inside. He put the takeaway kebabs he was carrying on the table and started eating. The aroma of grilled meat wafted to my nose as I ate my bread, secretly swallowing my saliva. He glanced at me. Want some? I asked cautiously. Does it cost anything? He suddenly smiled. You clean up after we're done. For who I was back then, those kebabs were like salvation. Later, he started coming home more often, always bringing food. Sometimes kebabs, sometimes noodles, sometimes hot dumplings from the takeaway. The smell was so wonderful that even years later, I still remember those flavors. He would laugh watching me wolf down the food. Eloise, you've got quite an appetite, haven't you? Actually, I was just starving. No breakfast, cheapest lunch, and just a cold bread roll for dinner. What he brought home was my only proper meal of the day. After eating, I would study on the sofa. He would play video games beside me, occasionally lighting up a cigarette when bored. He often stayed up late, and sometimes checking the time, he would bark. Eloise, go to bed. I would respond with an "oh" and slowly get up. I couldn't help but remind him, Levi, smoking is bad for your health. He shrugged it off. Whatever will be, will be. I added quietly, the internet says smoking can cause infertility. He froze, cursing, bloody hell, why didn't you say that earlier? I slept in the bedroom while he usually crashed on the sofa after gaming. The sofa was small and he was tall, couldn't even stretch his legs. But he could fall asleep instantly, sleeping like a log. I never thought I'd end up having anything to do with someone like him. He was so fierce. Fought so viciously that even the school bullies trembled at his name. And I, the teacher's model student, ended up sharing a rundown flat with this gang leader, forming a strange yet harmonious relationship. Later, I really ran out of money. Levi, about the rent, could I pay you after graduation? He raised an eyebrow. Can you do laundry, cook, and clean? Work it off. After that, I took over all the housework. He even started paying me a salary. With that money, I could finally eat proper meals at school. Living there became my most peaceful time. He had many friends, both guys and girls. When someone saw how clean the flat had become, they were surprised. "Mate, why's your place so tidy now?" When they ran into me, they'd tease. "Bloody hell! Keeping a bird on the side? Jenna's gonna be gutted." I'd seen that Jenna they mentioned. Tall, stunning, with a killer figure. So that was his type. That day, she cornered me, her tone hostile. "What's going on between you and Levi?" After a long silence, I managed to squeeze out. "You should ask him." When Levi came home that day, he stared at me meaningfully. "Eloise Bennett, what's going on between us?" I nervously avoided his gaze. "Nothing, nothing at all." He snorted, tossing me a bag of walnuts. "Heard these are good for the brain." "Suits you." That day, he proudly demonstrated cracking walnuts with his bare hands. Cool, right? Well, bit silly really. Of course, I didn't dare say that. I asked him, "Levi, why'd you dye your hair blonde?" He got angry. "It's not just blonde. It's golden." I said, "Oh, golden, like a retriever." He shot me a look. "Eloise Bennett, getting cheeky, are we?" But this time I wasn't scared. After spending time together, I realized that despite his fierce appearance, his threats were all talk. That day, I carefully told him, "Levi, I want to apply to the University S, it's just in the suburbs, 2 bus rides away." He stuffed a handful of walnut kernels in my mouth. "Think it's easy to get into a top university? Better feed that wooden head of yours." Just before my A-levels, my mum suddenly showed up at school to pick me up. "Eloise, that worthless man got himself into trouble and ran away. Come home with me, I'll cook your favorite meal," she said. She bought me new clothes and did my hair. I thought she finally cared about me. Until we got home and I saw several strangers sitting in our living room. "This is your future in-laws. They own a factory in the county." Such a good match. That's when I realized she was trying to sell me off. When I refused, she slapped me across the face. "Don't think I don't know about you and that good-for-nothing boy. Shameless girl, selling yourself at such a young age. I raised you, now it's time you repay me. What's the point of studying? Marrying a rich man is the right path." She hid my ID and locked me in the house. 2 days later, Levi kicked down the door. The moment he reached out to me, I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. My mom screamed in fear but still had the nerve to shout, "She's my daughter. My daughter can't sleep with you for free." Her voice was so loud that all the neighbors came out to watch. I stood there, mortified. Levi coldly asked her, "How much do you want?" £100,000, my mom replied. He left and returned shortly with a bag of cash. "From now on, Eloise Bennett has nothing to do with you." He gripped my wrist tightly and led me out of that alley. I followed behind him, wiping my tears. He turned around and glared at me, "Stop crying. It's annoying." During my A-level exams, he canceled all his appointments to wait outside the exam hall. That evening after the exams, after dinner, I gathered my courage and hugged him from behind. "Levi, will you sleep in the bed tonight?" He tensed up. "What do you mean? I can't repay your money." Truth is, with each day closer to the A-levels, my anxiety grew. After the exams, I would have no excuse to stay. But stubbornly, I wanted to create more bonds between us. He used £100,000 to sever my ties with my birth family. But it also made our relationship more unequal. After all these years, our positions remain unchanged. In the past, I needed money for school. Now, I need funding for research. He sat at the head of the table, coldly watching as I kept toasting him. Yet he remained unmoved. This project still needs further evaluation. What a typical capitalist attitude. I cursed him silently in my mind. Eventually, the alcohol went to my head, making everything fuzzy. Looking at a face so similar to Levi's, I suddenly hugged him. You look just like. I make £3,000 a month. I'll give you £2,000 if you spend the night with me. The room fell silent. My supervisor's face turned pale. Mr. Carter, please excuse her. She's had too much to drink. Levi held his wine glass, studying me intently. Miss Bennett is offering me just £2,000? I grabbed his tie, arguing stubbornly. What's wrong with £2,000? You're old and saggy now, how can you compare to young lads? Oh, I'm old and saggy? He laughed coldly, his gaze sweeping over me predatorily. Unlike Miss Bennett, who's so tight. Mr. Carter, she's really drunk. She's usually not this talkative. My supervisor was sweating profusely. My junior colleague tried to explain. Maybe Mr. Carter reminds her of her deceased boyfriend. That's why. Before she could finish, Levi Carter's expression darkened. His hands suddenly tightened around my waist. Eloise Bennett, who's deceased? My supervisor stammered, it was me dead, I'm dead. As I looked at his face so close to mine, about to speak. Ugh. I vomited all over him. The next day, I was being lectured in my supervisor's office. Eloise, what were you thinking? You're usually so reserved. But after a few drinks, you turned into quite the tiger, didn't you? Sure, Mr. Carter is handsome, but couldn't you just admire him from afar? How dare you say that you keep him? £2,000 a month for sleeping with him? Listen to yourself. Where were you planning to do this, in your dormitory? Did you even consider your roommates? Were they supposed to stand guard at the door? I wished the ground would swallow me whole. Professor, I'm sorry. You're lucky Mr. Carter was so understanding. You vomited all over him, yet he didn't get angry. He even kindly brought you back. He took a breath before delivering his final instruction. Today, we're going to his office to apologize properly. You must be sincere. The success of our project depends entirely on whether Levi Carter approves it. On the way to his company, Mr. Clark briefed me about Levi's many achievements. Despite not having advanced degrees, he's decisive and has a sharp eye. Made a fortune in real estate a few years back. And now he's conquering the tech industry. Becoming a new force to be reckoned with. 5 years. He's gone so far, becoming even more unreachable. While I'm stuck in an endless loop of studying, perpetually broke. Levi's office was on the top floor of a CBD building, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bustling city. The secretary showed us to the meeting room. He maintained his usual cool demeanor. Mr. Clark approached with a smile. Mr. Carter, please accept our sincere apologies for yesterday. My student, well, we've come specifically so she can apologize. He gave me a meaningful look. I stepped forward reluctantly, unable to meet his eyes. Mr. Carter, I was drunk yesterday. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Mr. Clark quickly chimed in. Yes, it was the anniversary of her ex-boyfriend's death. She was emotional after drinking. My heart sank. This old man was just making things up. Levi raised an eyebrow, looking amused. Death anniversary? How did Miss Bennett's ex-boyfriend die? Mr. Clark jumped in, terminal illness. He added hastily. But don't worry, Mr. Carter, Eloise has moved on completely. She's mentally very stable and won't affect the research progress. Yesterday was purely a case of mistaken identity due to alcohol. She has no other intentions towards you, I assure you. To add credibility, he added. She has a boyfriend now. Levi's eyes darkened. Is that so? Yes, yes, a junior from the same university. He pursued her for ages. Everyone in the lab knows about them, they're inseparable. Rest assured, she harbors absolutely no inappropriate thoughts about you. I remained silent. Mr. Clark gave me a look that said, wasn't that clever of me? After a moment of silence, Levi spoke quietly. That's good to hear. Mr. Clark seized the opportunity, Mr. Carter, about our project. He seemed to consider it for a moment. I'm still very interested in the project. However, our company needs to understand some details more thoroughly. Would it be possible to borrow Miss Bennett for a few days? To help us with some evaluation work. Mr. Clark's eyes lit up at this. No problem at all. Use her as you need. Eloise is my most brilliant student. I thought to myself, wow, you just sold me out. After leaving Levi's office. Professor, can I not go? I asked hesitantly. He began to lecture me earnestly. Eloise, this is about the future of our research group. About everyone's grants and graduation. Just take one for the team, okay? But how could I explain? Levi and I had an awkward history. Seeing my hesitation, he lowered his voice. I have a first author position. I'm saving it for you. I'll go, Professor. Those words could make me walk through fire. Reluctantly, I reported to Carter Group. Welcome, Ms. Bennett. Mr. Carter is still in a meeting. Please wait a moment. During the wait, the receptionist chatted with me enthusiastically. Unable to contain my curiosity, I whispered. Does your boss have any children? She looked puzzled. Children? Mr. Carter doesn't have any children. No children? Oh. Is he unable to? Back then, he was the one who talked about marriage and having children. The receptionist looked surprised. Mr. Carter isn't even married. My heart skipped a beat. He's still not married? A mix of secret joy and melancholy washed over me. After a few seconds, I muttered under my breath, so no one wants him. Just then, Eloise Bennett. A distinctly displeased voice sounded behind me. I jumped in fright. Oh no. Of course he had to hear that. I followed Levi to his office, the words still not married echoing in my mind. In my 3rd year at university, he calmly told me, I want to get married and have children. Let's end this. I begged him through my tears. Please, wait just one more year. We can marry after I graduate. He replied coldly, Eloise, don't degrade yourself like this. He was right. I'd been throwing myself at him since I was 18. That's when I first embraced him, and he pushed me away. Eloise, you don't need to repay me like this. Don't get mixed up with someone like me. It won't end well. I was a mess of tears then. Levi, you're a good person. He laughed sardonically. Ha, are you mental? I've got no money, no education, and I'm several years older than you. You're throwing yourself at me for 100,000? Do you even know how much it costs to keep a uni student these days? I didn't know, and I didn't want to know. I stubbornly held on to him, refusing to let go. Levi, I like you. He remained silent. I stood on my tiptoes, clumsily trying to kiss him. But he was too tall, and no matter how hard I tried, I could only reach his jaw. He stared at me, then suddenly smiled. Then he bent down and kissed me hard. You couldn't reach without me bending down, could you? That day, in his small flat, we were entangled from afternoon until sunset. His sweat dripped onto my neck as I navigated the waves of passion. Nervous and inexperienced, yet feeling something bloom secretly in my heart. I spent almost that entire summer holiday in his small flat. After my mom got the money, she disappeared somewhere. Levi sold his internet cafe. When I asked why, he just said, "Don't worry about it. I'm going to make big money." He became very busy, often not returning until dawn, sometimes with injuries. When I treated his wounds, I cried. Levi, why do you keep getting hurt? Please quit that job. Though he never said it. I knew he was working security at nightclubs, a dangerous environment. He shrugged it off. You call these injuries? Seeing me still crying, he silenced me with kisses. That summer, we spent countless passionate moments in that small bed, as if trying to exhaust all our energy. Before term started, he took me shopping, buying me a new phone, laptop, and loads of new clothes. We went to see the sea together. The salty breeze, circling seagulls, and endless blue. It was my first time seeing the ocean, and I excitedly took many photos. I secretly set our picture as my phone background, but when he saw it, he frowned. Change it. I froze. He didn't want others knowing about us. I silently lowered my head, fighting back tears as I deleted the photo. He gave me a card. Focus on your studies now. Don't keep coming back here. I won't have time to see you. After the term started, he never actively contacted me again. Until I was falsely accused by my roommate of stealing her watch, a 3,000-pound timepiece. They tried to search me by force, and in anger, I slapped one of them. They insisted I was acting guilty and reported it to the teacher. The tutor notified my family, and Levi came to the university. Though it's wrong for students to falsely accuse her, she shouldn't resort to violence either. Levi didn't say much, but as he sat down, his tattoo was briefly visible on his arm. I apologize for any trouble she has caused. But first, let's address the false theft accusation. How shall we resolve this? The tutor's tone immediately softened. Mr. Carter, please don't be upset. Eloise only lashed out because she was wronged. We'll have those students apologize to her. That day when he took me away from university, he asked, "Why haven't you used the money I gave you? Your tutor says you're always working part-time jobs." I kept my head down. There's plenty of free time at uni, might as well do something. Truth is, I didn't want to use his money. It felt like if I did, our relationship would be reduced to just financial transactions. I checked the account, there was £30,000 in it, enough to live well on. But my pitiful pride was stubbornly getting in the way. Later, Levi found the tutor and handed her a gift bag. "Please give this to Eloise." It was a lady's watch worth over £10,000. After that, no one dared look down on me anymore. Somehow word got around that Eloise's brother was involved with gangs. So naturally, no one dared bully me either. That day, I gathered my courage and asked Levi, "Can I come stay at weekends?" He said, "Come whenever you want." After that, I often took the hour-and-a-half bus ride back on weekends. Watching the scenery change from busy streets to familiar neighborhoods through the window gave me a sense of peace. Levi still kept odd hours, living alone, his flat always a mess. I would thoroughly clean the place, put on new bedding, and buy some cheap flowers to put in glass vases. He seemed increasingly busy, often falling asleep as soon as he got home. We didn't spend much time together. And when we did meet, we inevitably ended up in bed. He lay under the pink duvet, grimacing. Making a grown man sleep under something so girly? Should I change it? He held me back. "Don't bother. It's too far from your university. I've rented a flat near campus, stay there when the dorm gets uncomfortable." I was stunned for a long while. Was he concerned about my commute, or did he not want to see me? "Will you come visit?" He said, "We'll see." He almost never reached out to me first. I suppose he really didn't care for me. After all, how could you stop yourself from missing someone you truly love? The rare times he called, it was usually just, "I've transferred some money to you. Did you receive it?" He would regularly send money, varying amounts. I'd ask him, "Are you coming over today?" He'd just give a brief in response. Every time he said he'd visit, I'd feel secretly delighted. Then I'd feel pathetic, even cheap. Like I was just his kept woman. Many nights, I found myself trapped in an endless cycle, craving his warmth while consciously sinking deeper. In his second year at university, he and his friends opened a small pub together. Business was good that year, and he bought himself a car. He became busier, surrounded by all sorts of friends who loved partying and having fun, while I was quiet and dull, completely out of place in his world. Perhaps he had grown tired of me long ago. Until one day, I found lipstick marks on his jacket. Trembling, I said, "Levi, let's break up." He was stunned. "What did you say?" I gave a self-mocking smile. "Well, we were never really together, so I suppose we can't break up." He seemed irritated. "I don't know who left that mark." "Someone kissed you and you're still denying it. Is that what you think of me?" He seemed to get angry too. "Fine, if that's what you want, let's end it." No further explanation, no attempt to make me stay. He left after saying that, and I cried alone for a long time. He didn't contact me. Until a day later, he sent me a CCTV footage without any message. In a corner of the pub, a girl stumbled on her high heels as she passed by, accidentally bumping into him, her lips brushing against his jacket. I had wrongly accused him, and I didn't know what to do. I sent a message saying I'm sorry, but he didn't reply. However, he posted a video of a party on social media, showing several girls smiling brightly around him. Angry and anxious, I rushed over there. When I pushed open the private room door, his eyes fell on me, and he immediately got angry. "Who let you come out dressed like that?" I had left in such a hurry, I forgot to change out of my pajamas. He blocked me, took off his jacket to wrap around me, and said harshly, "Go home now. Come back with me. I'm doing business here, don't make a scene. Then I'll wait for you." I clutched his jacket tightly, refusing to let go. Someone teased, "Oh, is this your girlfriend?" "Quite strict, isn't she?" Levi's face darkened, but he didn't deny it. I sat quietly beside him while they discussed business, silently looking down at my feet. While talking to others, he grumpily picked out strawberries from the fruit platter and shoved them at me irritably. At home, he still wouldn't talk to me. I snuggled closer. "Don't be angry, please. We've broken up. Why would I be angry? I'm absolutely delighted. Can we not break up?" I asked softly. "You want to break up, then you don't?" "Just like that?" He sneered. "Eloise, you really think I'm the type who'd fool around and cheat behind your back, don't you?" Knowing I was in the wrong, I hugged him and tried to kiss him. He wouldn't lower his head. "Levi, please bend down a bit." He finally snapped, pushing me against the wall. "Eloise, stop acting like you're terribly wronged all the time." Unable to say even one sweet word, I whispered, "I'm not wronged." He kissed me fiercely. "One of you is more than enough to handle. You think I have the energy to keep another?" That night, he was rough and relentless. No matter how much I cried and begged, he wouldn't stop. He cruelly forced me to answer. "Is sorry all you can say? Can't you be a bit cuter?" "I don't know how." "Say, hubby, please don't be angry." I couldn't say it, so he deliberately wouldn't give me release. He forced me to say, "Hubby, don't be angry and I love you most, hubby," before he would finally stop. Neither of us mentioned breaking up again, and he didn't bring it up either. In my third year at university, Levi's business was doing well, and he started sending me money more frequently. He was always surrounded by girls, seeming to be the center of attention wherever he went. That year, a guy pursued me quite publicly. Everyone knew about it. I rejected him time and time again, earning myself the nickname Ice Queen. But no one knew that beneath the Ice Queen's clothes lay a trail of love bites belonging to another man. That relationship was both emotionally draining and my only source of comfort. I secretly hoped that after graduation in a year's time, perhaps we could be like normal couples, openly together. But I didn't make it to graduation. Levi spoke first. "Eloise, this is getting boring. Let's end it." I asked him why, stunned. He simply said he was tired of sleeping with me. "I'm getting older. I want to marry and have children." I grabbed his arm, crying incoherently. "Just wait one more year, we could get married, have children." He cut me off coldly. "Don't be so cheap. Eloise, we're from different worlds. We should have ended this long ago." He transferred me more money, a full £300,000. After that, I couldn't find him anywhere. He sold the flat behind the internet cafe, His friend told me he'd sold his shares in the pub and left. I couldn't believe it. I did something rebellious. I went to his pub and hired 3 male escorts. Using his money. It was the first time I used the card he'd given me. I thought if he still cared, he would show up. But he never did. Eloise, stop waiting. He's determined to end it, his friend advised. Has he fallen for someone else? I honestly don't know. Have you known him long? Yeah, I've been hanging around him since we were 15. He was our leader back then. When someone bullied me, he'd stand up for me. Levi's parents divorced early on and both started new families. He was raised by his grandmother. After she passed, he was on his own, fighting his own battles on the streets, dealing with beatings and bullying all by himself. You're from different worlds. It was never going to last. That year, I received a scholarship to study abroad as an exchange student for a year. After graduation, I was accepted into the university's postgraduate program. My supervisor said someone with my temperament was best suited for research. Later, I went on to pursue a PhD. The card Levi gave me accumulated £480,000 in total. I never touched it. In Levi's office. After explaining the project data model for the 3rd time, I felt my patience reaching its limit. Mr. Carter, do you understand my explanation this time? He leaned back in his chair, his fingers tapping rhythmically on the desk, his gaze sharp and intent. Miss Bennett, I'm still not quite clear about your variable analysis. Which part confuses you? I pointed at the chart on the tablet screen. Look, here we assume. Before I could finish, he suddenly reached out and covered my hand holding the stylus. Here, he guided my hand to draw a circle, his breath brushing against my ear. Isn't the fluctuation range set too conservatively? His palm was burning hot, and that familiar scent overwhelmed me. 5 years, and still that scent could easily throw me off balance. He looked up, a hint of playfulness in his eyes. I'm not very well educated, rather slow on the uptake. Perhaps Miss Bennett could help me understand more thoroughly. He deliberately emphasized the last words with suggestive ambiguity. I suspected he was doing this on purpose. Just then, there was a knock at the door. His secretary entered with a lunch container. Mr. Carter, Anna sent lunch over. She said it's a new recipe and wants to know if it suits your taste. If you like it, she'll make it again tomorrow. Inside were several light but elegantly prepared dishes. Levi merely responded with a brief "hmm." My heart suddenly clenched. Just because he wasn't married didn't mean he was alone. Of course, with his current worth, he wouldn't be short of female attention. What was I thinking anyway? My phone vibrated. It was Jacob calling. The junior colleague my professor mentioned who was pursuing me. Eloise, I heard you're consulting at Carter Group. What a coincidence, my brother's company is in this building too. When's your lunch break? Fancy joining me downstairs? I hesitated for a moment before replying. Sure, just give me a minute. While he's here eating his girlfriend's loving meal, I can go have lunch with someone else. Mr. Carter, I'll leave you to your lunch then. As I turned to leave, I realized he was following behind me. I'm heading downstairs for lunch too, he explained. Didn't he already have lunch? In the restaurant. He sat across from Jacob and me. Jacob hadn't noticed and kept talking to me excitedly. Thank you for coming, Eloise. I know you haven't gotten over your late boyfriend, but I'll wait. Time heals all wounds. A cold gaze swept over from the side. I lowered my head awkwardly. Well, actually, he isn't dead. Jacob froze, then blurted out. So when will he die? A cold chuckle came from beside us. He probably won't be dying anytime soon. Just as I returned to the office, Levi cornered me behind the door. His tall figure loomed over me. Well, Eloise, going around telling people I'm dead? Though nervous inside, I remained defiant. I wasn't talking about you, Mr. Carter. Don't take it personally. Brilliant. He gritted his teeth and asked. So you fancy that young lad? Yes. He's too young, not reliable. I prefer younger men. They're energetic, unlike older men who are weak and manipulative. I remained stubborn, silently challenging him. Weak? You think I'm old and saggy, and only worth your 2,000 pounds, do you? He was seething with anger. Well done, Eloise. You've certainly found your voice. Used to be you could barely string 2 words together. Now you're quite the chatterbox. Yes, I've grown stronger. I lifted my chin, meeting his gaze. Don't worry, Mr. Carter. I won't be that pathetic girl who clings to you anymore. You've got someone bringing you love lunch, and I've got plenty of admirers too. Thinking about how cautious I used to be, I realized I could live without him. Besides, seeing him angry was oddly satisfying. What love lunch? Eloise, you've really perfected the art of spreading rumors over the years. That was my special diet meal. What special diet meal? A sudden unease crept into my heart. Are you ill? What's wrong? He turned away. It's none of your business. Even if I die, it won't matter to you. What's actually wrong? He snapped harshly. What your professor mentioned, terminal illness. My heart clenched again. Surely he couldn't be seriously ill? But he wouldn't speak to me anymore. I quietly approached his secretary for confirmation. Is Mr. Carter ill? The secretary replied, Mr. Carter's stomach condition has worsened this year. The doctor advised a bland diet. Most restaurant food is too oily and salty. Anna was my university senior. She specializes in nutritional meals and delivers them promptly every afternoon. So that's what it was. I'd misunderstood him again. Oh, Eloise, why did you have to be so stubborn earlier? I felt dejected. Taking the thermal lunchbox to his office, I spoke more softly. You haven't eaten lunch yet, the food's still warm. Not hungry. He didn't even look up, his tone cold. Please, don't be angry. He ignored me, picking up his documents again. I pressed my lips together and quietly left the room. Just as I was about to slip away at the end of my shift, he called me back. I'll drive you home. He picked up his car keys, his expression somewhat softened. He drove in silence the whole way. When we reached the university gates, I remembered something. I took out a card I'd kept for years from my bag and handed it to him. Levi, this is the money you gave me back then. Plus the 100,000 you gave my mom, 580,000 in total. I'd wanted to return this money to him for a long time. I've never been materialistic. Throughout university, I had scholarships and grants, and I worked part-time jobs until I finally saved enough to repay him. He glanced at the card, his face immediately darkening. What's this supposed to mean? I don't want to owe you anything, I said. He stared at me and let out a cold laugh. Eloise, does my money make you that uncomfortable? I remained silent, unsure how to respond. What was I doing? Even if it meant being contradictory. At least giving him the money back would make me feel better. Yes. I opened my mouth, my throat tight. This card keeps reminding me that this money came from selling myself. Selling yourself? He coldly repeated those words. Eloise, were those 3 years with me so humiliating? I lowered my head and sniffled. It wasn't humiliation, it was the pain of unrequited love, the inequality that hurt. He wouldn't understand. With this money returned, we're even, I turned away, avoiding his gaze. At least with the money returned, we could be equals. Even? Who's even with whom? He laughed bitterly, his voice harsh. You sold yourself? Then what does that make me? A client? Without me, you wouldn't have passed your A-levels or gone to university. I worked myself to death earning money while taking care of you. If anyone sold themselves, it was me. Should I charge you for services rendered? After all, I made sure you were well satisfied every time. His crude words made me flush with anger and embarrassment. You're shameless. I realized there's no point arguing with a brute. I reached for the door handle. He suddenly grabbed my wrist. Pulling me beneath him, he kissed me. I was caught completely off guard. My mind went blank. His burning touch and familiar scent overwhelmed me. His angry kiss was dominating and forceful. I could barely breathe. Just then, a shriek came from outside the car. "Stop right there." Oh God, why was my supervisor banging on the window? He looked murderous. In panic, I bit Levi hard. We separated and awkwardly got out of the car. Mr. Clark pulled me behind him protectively, rolling up his sleeves, ready to confront Levi. "Levi Carter, how dare you take advantage of my student?" He didn't forget to lecture me. "Don't be afraid, Eloise. Even though we're short on funding, we won't resort to such compromises. As academics, we must maintain our dignity. We won't bow to corporate pressure." I'll knock him out for trying to exploit my student. As he swung his fist at Levi, Levi panicked. "Professor Clark, please calm down." I quickly grabbed Mr. Clark's arm and shouted, "Levi is my ex-boyfriend." Mr. Clark's fist froze in midair as he processed this information for a few seconds. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" Then, his expression changed instantly. "Oh, what a misunderstanding. No wonder you two look so, ahem, I must say. You make quite the perfect couple." Levi responded graciously. "Thank you for taking care of Eloise all these years, Professor Clark." "Don't mention it. A teacher is like a father to their students. It's our duty to look after them. But now that she has someone to protect her, I can rest easy." Mr. Clark couldn't stop grinning, then changed the subject. "By the way, about our research project." Levi nodded. "Of course we'll fund it." "Would £5 million be sufficient?" Mr. Clark excitedly grabbed Levi's hand. "Oh, my dear son-in. I mean, Mr. Carter. How generous. Speaking of which, when's the wedding? You're not getting any younger, you know?" I stood there, completely dumbfounded. Somehow, I became the hero of our laboratory. Everyone's talking about how my reconciled ex-boyfriend saved our project from the brink of failure. Especially these days, Levi keeps coming to the university. The rumors have even evolved to say we're getting married. Seriously, who's spreading these stories? I found Levi to explain. You don't need to worry about some of the rumors." "What rumors?" He looked up at me. "Well, those saying we're dating." "Don't let it affect you." "Why not?" He stared at me disapprovingly. "So do you want me to be your kept man?" "That's not what I meant. Eloise, I've invested £5 million in your lab. Don't tell me you haven't broken up with that boy yet?" "What's he on about?" I feel like a princess being forced into a political marriage. "Call him now and break it off." "I won't." "Fine, then I'll withdraw my funding." "That's low." "Will you call or not?" "We're not together." I finally gave in, confessing quietly. "What?" "I said we're not together." He kept pursuing me, demanding a reason. So I told him I couldn't get over my deceased ex-boyfriend. He paused, then suddenly chuckled softly. Then, he reached out and pulled me into his arms, leaning down to kiss me. Stop, people are watching." I pushed against him. "So what?" Our noses touched, breaths mingling. "Are you ashamed of me?" Suddenly remembering the past, my old hurt surfaced. You never used to park outside the university gates." He tightened his arms, his voice dropping. "I just didn't want your classmates to see you had an uneducated, penniless boyfriend." "But I didn't care." "I did." He looked at me seriously. "Eloise, rumors can hurt. I didn't want people looking down on you because of me." "But you never said you liked me." Years of accumulated hurt welled up in my eyes. "Would I sleep with you if I didn't like you? Give you money if I didn't like you? Would I think about you all these years if I didn't like you? Am I that pathetic?" He seemed exasperated by my slowness. "Then why did you break up with me?" "That year, someone more suitable appeared. And you got that scholarship to study abroad, didn't you?" He sighed helplessly. "Why would I hold you back? I'm several years older, uneducated, with no background. What kind of life could you have with me? You were young and impulsive. In a few years, when you'd seen more of the world, you'd meet someone better, more compatible. I was afraid you'd regret it. So that's what he'd been thinking. Hearing his unspoken concerns, years of hurt and misunderstanding instantly dissolved. My tears fell harder. I would never regret it. I repeated these words against his chest. No one could compare to him. He'd won everything when he saved me from the mire at 18. There would never be another Levi Carter. Tell me, what else are you unhappy about? He pinched my cheek, resigned. You wouldn't let me post about us on social media, or set you as my phone wallpaper. I mumbled. I just wanted to be openly acknowledged like normal couples, to have that security. He took out his phone and changed everything. His lock screen, wallpaper, profile picture, social media, all to our photos together. Satisfied now, he raised an eyebrow at me. I replied softly, feeling inexplicably sweet inside. Any other demands? For now. I can't think of any. Fine, save them for later then. Suddenly felt quite pathetic. Always so easily placated by his words. Completely wrapped around his finger because I loved him. He took me back to the old small flat. After making my first fortune, I bought it back, he said. It's just like before. I looked around and couldn't help teasing. Except someone's gotten older. Back then, Levi was 21, a cocky and handsome young lad who feared nothing. Now at 29, he had shed that youthful brashness. Replaced by the composed demeanor of a mature man. You think I'm old? His eyes darkened as he swept me up in his arms and headed for the bedroom. Eloise, let's settle this score. He tossed me onto the bed and covered my body with his. Who's old and weak? Who's lost their vigor? Tell me. How does he still remember that? He nibbled my earlobe and whispered demandingly. Do you prefer the older man or the younger one? Or perhaps the older man's, younger. I melted under his touch, begging for mercy. But he only intensified his actions. Am I old? Am I weak? He was like a man possessed, determined to prove something. I was nearly falling apart. Through my hazy consciousness, I heard a loud crack. The bed collapsed. Levi propped himself up, looking at the battle-worn small bed and sighed. Let's get a bigger bed. This one's a bit restrictive. I covered my face in embarrassment. Later, we went shopping for a bed. While browsing, we ran into his old friend from when they ran the pub together. He was holding a toddler who had just learned to walk, absolutely adorable. I couldn't help but crouch down to play with the little one. If you like children so much, you should have one of your own. His friend teased. Levi's had it rough these past years. But I'm glad you two finally worked things out. He looked at me somewhat apologetically. I'm sorry I didn't tell you where Levi was back then. It's all right, I shook my head. That's all in the past now. But I've never seen a bloke more love-struck than him, his friend remarked. Curious, I said, really? I always felt he didn't care much for me. His friend laughed. He didn't care? He sold his internet cafe to save you, didn't he? I froze. What did you say? He sold the cafe, for me? Yeah, someone offered him good money for it. But he always refused, said it was his foundation. But when your mum tried forcing you to marry and demanded 100,000, he didn't hesitate, went straight to sign the contract. And when you were at uni, someone falsely accused you of theft. He bought you a £12,000 watch so you wouldn't be looked down upon. He only had £5,000 then. To get the rest, he had no choice but to volunteer for medical trials, earned £8,000 that way. And that £300,000 when you split up? That was from selling his pub. He gave it all to you. Men and their pride, he probably never told you. You students don't know how hard it is in the real world. Every penny he earned was through blood and sweat. Worked as a bouncer, carried cement at construction sites, did whatever he could. Paying your rent, sending you money. He often skipped meals himself. His stomach's been ruined from all those years. As his friend rambled on about these stories I'd never known, each word felt like a hammer to my heart. At 18, he sold his livelihood, the internet cafe, to buy my freedom. At 21, he sold his promising pub and gave me the means to start fresh. Even at 19, he risked his health in medical trials. Just to buy me a watch so I wouldn't feel inferior. I always thought he didn't care about me. During those 3 years, I felt like I was the only one trying, felt wronged, felt unloved. Yet I had no idea how much he'd suffered for me. How much he'd given up, all without my knowledge. Oh, Eloise, you fool. When Levi returned after paying, he saw my tear-stained face and paused. Why are you crying? I threw myself into his arms, beating his chest while sobbing. Levi, you idiot, how could you keep so many things from me? Even after all these years. My heart still aches thinking about everything he went through. He held me, patting my back helplessly. It's all in the past now. No need to get emotional about it. You never tell me anything, always bearing everything alone. All right then, I'll tell you. From Levi's perspective. Taking in Eloise was purely accidental. I don't know what came over me when I brought her home that day. She was like a wildflower, unnoticed by others, yet growing strong on her own. She spoke little, keeping everything bottled up inside. But she was as stubborn as a mule. Watching her eat plain bread made me uneasy. And I found myself bringing food home, wondering if she was safe alone at home. I inexplicably wanted to return earlier. I felt like I was coming down with something, actually worrying about a young girl. Looking at the house she had transformed into something new. I felt strange, experiencing the feeling of home for the first time. Lying on the sofa at night, watching her white laundry swaying in the breeze on the balcony. I suddenly couldn't sleep. I thought these days were quite nice, and it wouldn't be bad to marry her. But she was meant to fly away, she didn't belong here. I was born in the gutter, covered in filth. Why should I drag her down with me? I wanted her to fly higher. I don't regret selling the internet cafe to help her. I never wanted anything in return. But when she hugged me, trembling as she said "I like you," all reason vanished. My dreams became reality as I greedily absorbed her warmth. I told myself to indulge just for the summer and let her go when term starts. I forced myself not to contact her. Until I learned she was falsely accused of theft, I couldn't hold back anymore. I wanted to punch everyone who bullied her. But fists couldn't solve problems. I wanted her to hold her head high. We were so poor then. I participated in medical trials for money. The drug had strong side effects, causing pain at night. I didn't regret it. I didn't want my girl to be looked down upon. Making money was hard, exhausting. There seemed no hope of rising from the bottom. Countless nights I lay awake, watching her peaceful sleeping face. She had a bright future, a star student from the ivory tower. Not like me, a thug rolling in the mud. I deliberately distanced myself, trying to push her back into the light. But whenever she came close, showed vulnerability, I couldn't help but soften. I told myself to indulge a bit longer. Until she grew up more, became more independent. For her, I started desperately climbing up, wanting to earn more money. Hoping, maybe one day I could stand proudly beside her. But I always knew clearly we weren't from the same world. She had many suitors. With better family backgrounds, education, and prospects than me. I even felt I had tainted her. I knew she got accepted for studying abroad, though she hadn't told me. What an opportunity. Why bother? Why hold her back? She was meant to fly higher. Friends called me love-blind for giving her all my savings. I didn't think it was a waste. I even felt it wasn't enough. I sold my house, leaving myself no safety net. Quit the pub business too. The nightlife was too chaotic, I didn't like it, and she felt unsafe. Without Eloise, I might still be drifting aimlessly through life. Now, I wanted to make something of myself. Those years were truly exhausting. Sometimes falling asleep right at the construction site. When missing her became unbearable, I'd look up at the moon. Perhaps she was looking at it too. All these years, I've been quietly following her progress. She was driven and excellent. I pushed myself to keep going too. I even started studying management and finance, improving my education. When we met again, she had become a doctor. Well, that's something I could never achieve. It's fine though, she can focus on research, while I focus on making money to support her dreams. This time, I won't let go. She complained, Levi, you've never said you like me. How could I not like her? I was the one wrapped around her finger all along. If I don't bend down, how can you kiss me? Eloise Bennett, I love you.